I'm going to call Adrian Ruffy.
Mr. Chairman. Part 2, sir, Subpart 1, Goods and Services Tax Act 1985. Section 5, amending meaning term supply. So, sir, 6F reads, for the purpose of this Act, the amount payable by the Crown or the agency under the Housing Restructuring and Tenancy Matters Act 1992 under a reimbursement agreement or a tailored agreement under that Act for the provision of accommodation and social housing is treated and as consideration for the supply of accommodation in a dwelling by way of hire. Sir, my issue with this particular amendment is, first of all, it refers to something in Part 1 of the Act, and I rose to take a point of order on that. It's actually incorrect. Sir, in New Zealand Statutes 1992, Volume 2, number 76, Part 1, which also is part of this in Part 2, and I'm doing this, sir, because it's every member of Parliament's obligation to make sure that even in legislation that you don't agree with, that it's correct, because I don't want to see this.
Just one moment. Did you say you were? Did you want a point of order? Did you? Did you actually ask for a point of order?
Sir, in the first part I did,
okay,
yes,
sorry,
to highlight
sorry,
this.
I've just, because this is not a point of order. Okay. Adrian Ruffy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in Part 1, Section 4, Section 2 is amended. It refers to reimbursement agreement, means an agreement referred to in Section 85(1). Sir, in this statute book, there is no Section 85 subsection 1. There is, it carries on to say Section 98(1). There is no subsection 1 of Section 98. There's a difference between alphabetic and numeric. There's a Section 85A, but no Section 85(1). Sir,
come back to Part 2.
As I said, it is incumbent.
It's not, it's in Part 1.
I will come back to Part 2, sir. Okay. Again, in 6F, which refers to those very matters. A reimbursement agreement or a tailored agreement. Those clauses in Part 1 give effect to this clause, and that this clause now is redundant. In effect, what has been passed in Part 1 is also redundant. We will be seeing this come back maybe as part of a statutes amendment bill to correct it. This is wrong, and it's incumbent upon me to tell this House so. That is what we get when we rush legislation through this House. This is what we get when the members opposite sit in absolute silence and not participate in the debate about this part here, Part 2. We need to hear both from the Minister and the members opposite, the government, about how they're going to correct this. This legislation is about to be passed in the next maybe 2.5 hours. So but somehow between now and then, we have to make sure that we don't add additional costs to the taxpayer and correct this to make it as good as it can be, because, sir, to do nothing would mean cost to this nation, and I don't think that's good enough. I don't think it's good enough that, and I'll refer to another part of Part 2, in particular under Subpart 2, Housing Corporation Act 1974, that amends Section 3B. 3B, and that says, and that's about the Minister receiving advice from Housing Corporation. Now, I'm certain that if this had gone through a robust considered process, then we wouldn't be in here talking about errors within this bill. Mr. Chairman?
Put up Parioni.